to play fast, and we have to play physical. I mean, that's what we do, and we're never going to look at the scoreboard. We're just going to play the next play, and we'll add it up at the end.
What would you relate as far as this team versus any other team that maybe have similar character?
You mean comparing Oklahoma to the other teams?
Yes.
I think that their quarterback he's just a special guy, and he makes a lot of things happen. He's an elite competitor. He reminds me of Brett Favre in a lot of ways because he can make all the throws. He plays with tremendous toughness, and he can improvise, put a lot of pressure on your defense, and he creates big plays for them. And he's a leader, and his offensive guys seem to play for him. And so, that's you don't see guys like that every day, and you don't see teams like this every week.
How difficult is it to keep him in the pocket?
Excuse me?
How difficult is it to keep him?
It is very difficult. We always preach coordinated pass rush, making sure that we have level rush on the edges and good balanced pocket push in the middle to try to keep the quarterback in the pocket, and all of the coverages and the pressures that we have, and that's discipline. But we also have to be aggressive in doing that.
Kirby doesn't keep seeing Mel on the tape is he gets the pressure from the outside, then he starts to go up the middle, and you think he's going to run, and then he stops short of the line of scrimmage, and by then somebody's free. So
yeah.
What's the unique challenge of that particular play?
Well, that unique challenge is really we show our players those plays during the week, and we try to simulate those plays as much as we can in practice. And so from a coverage standpoint, we make sure that our players are disciplined in knowing that they have to cover as long as it takes. And that could be 10 seconds. If it's 10 seconds, it's 10 seconds. And we're not going to come out of coverage until the quarterback crosses the line of scrimmage. And we understand that when he does scramble, he is looking to throw, okay? And so that's important. We also know that if no one's open, he will run, okay? And he will run to make you miss. He will run to try to run you over, and he'll also slide. So he's unique, and he's unique in that way. So it puts a lot of pressure on us, but everything that we have in our package is sound from a pass rush line standpoint, and everything we have in our coverage package is sound.
Why is he so hard to get to the ground?
Because he's strong.
Yeah.
He's strong and he's tough, and he's a high-level competitor. His competitive toughness, his CT score is off the charts.
Well, Kirby doesn't hide from the fact that he's a micromanager. He's talking to people when they come off the field, on the field, but he's very seems deliberate about saying this is not my defense. This is Mel Tucker's defense. Can you just talk about that dynamic of working with a defensive coordinator? Obviously, you came with him from Alabama, and whatever latitudes he gives you in terms of running that defense.
Yeah, I mean, I've worked with defensive head coaches before, and so I really enjoy that, because when you work with a head coach that understands defenses and understands the challenges that you have as a coordinator, I think it helps. And I think it's always good to have an extra set of eyes. In the NFL, you can have as many coaches on your staff as you want. And so the full-time staff, guys, they're usually huge. And so really the student to teacher ratio is favorable in the NFL. Well, in the college game, there's a limited amount of full-time coaches that you can have, and so we need as many expert eyes, on our players as we can get. And so for Kirby to be hands-on, I welcome that. We've got a lot of players. We try to coach all of our guys. We have a developmental program, and so it's really all hands on deck. We work very, very closely together. There's mutual respect between Kirby and myself. I just really enjoy being around him as a person, and I think that also carries over to our staff. We have tremendous chemistry on our staff. Everyone works together. Again, it's shared responsibility. And if you have a tight-knit staff that works together, is always on the same page, then that translates to the players. And so I think that's one of the advantages that we have, is that our staff is together and we're all on the same page.
Now, how difficult is it to match up with Lincoln Riley and play call?
I think he's an excellent play caller. I think that he looks for matchups, and he knows your weaknesses, and he's going to try to exploit them. And he's going to find out what works, and continue to attack those areas. And so he does a really good job of running the football. And so. I mean, if you look at their rushing stats, I mean, if they're averaging over 5 yards a carry, when you look at them, you think that they're really, at first glance, you may think, hey, this is really just an explosive, passing team, and the spread all over the place. But when you really break them down, they're gashing people in the run game. And very, very committed to doing that. And so, as a play caller, I really respect that from him. Because that really puts a lot of pressure on your defense when you have to defend the run and the pass.
Their quarterback has reportedly been sick all week and not at any of the non-football activities. How much attention you paid to any of that?
None. No attention to that. I expect him to be at his best. I can remember, I don't know what year that was, but I remember Michael Jordan. I think he had the flu in one game, and they were carrying him off the court to the bench. On timeouts, and I think he might have one of the best games of his career. So like I said, his CT score, his competitive toughness is off the charts. I expect him to be at his best. I think everyone understands that.
Coach Tucker, is there anyone that y'all have played this year that offense closely resembles Oklahoma, or is this something completely different?
Yeah, I mean, we face quite a few spread teams. Maybe pace of play. Missouri is a team that goes fast and tries to run a lot of plays. Last year in our bowl game, we played TCU, which was probably the fastest team that we have played in terms of pace of play. And that puts a lot of pressure on your defense to hustle and get lined up. And we have to be best conditioned, and they do a great job communicating. And so. We face some similar teams, but obviously, Oklahoma is unique.
Coach, having been here as a player, what is that significance like now, having a chance to be on the sideline as a coach?
It's interesting because when I was here as a player, I was redshirted because I had a broken leg that season, and so now it's kind of come full circle. But I'm actually going to be involved in the game in a major way, and so I'm excited about that. I'm from the Midwest, and kind of Big Ten country, and the Rose Bowl is has always been a special game, growing up in the Midwest, and so I'm just excited about the challenge that we have, and I mean, you don't get these. I mean, these opportunities don't come very often, and so you have to make sure that you appreciate it and you take advantage of it.
What do you remember about that game? Is there any special emotion that you felt walking out of the tunnel, or just kind of deep inside?
I just remember the thing that I remember the most outside of the game itself is that when you come into the stadium, how immaculate the field was. I mean, it was like a hot, it was like an elite, golf course type grass. I hear they cut it like 3 times a day or something like that. And I can remember the one end zone being Wisconsin, the other end zone being UCLA, and it was almost like it wasn't real because it was just so attention to detail, it was just so immaculate, and it was, and then the way the crowd, you know, you had the colors of, you know, the fans and the, you know, they in red, and then the other fans from the other team in the other colors, and it was just, you knew that it was a special event, and it was something that you cherish.
Is there one aspect of the defense you think is really going to have to step up? You know they're playing well that day. You know you're going to do well.
Yeah, I think up front, you know, our front seven. When we set the edge in the run game and build a wall inside, that we're hard to run on, and that's going to be important, because when you have a team that can be effective running the ball and throwing it, it makes for a long day. And so we've got to do a great job up front.
There's so much talk about your front seven and the power and mobility of them. In the back end, how do you like the matchup? How comfortable do you feel with what you're going to be doing and the skill of your guys?
Yeah, I feel comfortable with our guys. Obviously, we're going to be challenged because they have great skilled players. They've got speed and quickness. They have playmakers. They're great run after the catch guys. They can also throw the ball over your head, and so we'll be challenged. But our guys always seem to step up. You know, it's just going to be important for us to do a great job with our eye discipline and our coverage, and, you know, just do your job and be where you're supposed to be, and make the plays that you're supposed to make.
All right, that's it, guys. We got to move coach over.